Welcome everybody. My name is Jim Lee. I'm the creator of ClimateViewer.com, and I'm here to tell you a little story about a facility called HAARP. If you're not familiar with it, we are talking about HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program in Gakona, Alaska. It is a 3.6 megawatt transmitter, radio transmitter, 180 towers. I'm over here on resonated.com. That is the radiation database. You can see right here. So just scroll down to HAARP. Angels play this HAARP, and you're going to see a table of contents. Now these articles have taken me the last 2 years to put together. It's a lot of research. Some of it's very complicated. I don't expect everybody to understand it, and most people will not care, to be honest with you. But for me, this is a science fiction wonderland story. It's very interesting, and it involves the military, weather, and tons of new sci-fi stuff. It's not science fiction though, people. This is the wild world of science fact. So what is HAARP? I'm going to start by clicking here on HAARP, the world's sexiest energy weapon, and that's going to take me over to my blog. That's resonated.net, the Resonation, and this is where I keep most of my articles. And you can see here a tutorial for Climate Viewer. We'll get into that a little later. At the top here, I tell everybody to please read The Birth of HAARP, because really what matters is why it was made. We'll get into that very shortly. So, who are all these people? Who made HAARP? The Office of Naval Research, the Air Force Research Lab, DARPA, and Stanford's VLF group manage and operate the facility. Particularly if you want to get in touch with them, you can contact HAARP at the Office of Public Affairs, Air Force Research Lab, and there's the address. So Stanford VLF group, you see the lightning bolt here. It is not a coincidence. They're very interested in VLF and transluminous event, stuff that comes from lightning, and they want to be able to artificially manufacture it using HAARP. So that's why they study lightning bolts and the like. There's the device. The big thing here you see right here is called the IRI, and most people think that HAARP is just this antenna facility. HAARP is actually a series of different instruments, and the IRI is the big one. It is the 3.6 megawatt transmitter. All the details on that. Here's some close-ups. Here's inside the transmission little trailers. If you look right here, those are the trailers. Yeah, and there's a lot of them. So this right here is the MUIR, or Modular UHF Ionospheric Radar. And we have the optical trailers. These have LiDARs and all sky cameras that can see in 360 degrees, so they can see the effects of what they're doing. You got an ionoson. This bounces radio waves off the ionosphere. Then you got the VHF radar. This is looks like a bike rack. You'd tie your bicycle to that, I suppose. And then, of course, you have receiving antennas so they can get their signals back. They've got an aircraft radar alert tower here, and this basically says planes don't fly overhead. This is this is an energy weapon here. Finally, you have the HAARP main research building facility, and here's inside of it. I like to call this Death Star 1, and that's where they control everything. Very nice. I'm sure it's been upgraded by now. Diesel power plants to run the whole thing. And here are webcams showing it live. This is today's date. No, these say 2011, but I'm sure if you click on them, it should take you to, yeah, there's the webcam. So what does it do? Let's not focus on what it does in this video. Let's just focus real quickly on how it was made, why it was made. So we're going to go over here to the birth of HAARP. What can HAARP do? HAARP does radiation belt remediation. Ever heard of that? Apparently there's a lot of radiation in the atmosphere, and they want to be able to control how much is up there to be able to clean it of radiation and or inject radiation to either protect or destroy satellites and or ICBMs. Create an artificial ionospheric mirror. Much to do about this. Heard a lot about this on many websites. Nobody's ever showed me this though. DTIC.mil, Physics Study in Artificial Ionospheric Mirror Related Phenomena by ARCO. They made it. There you go. So this is the military's version when this was proposed. Read it yourself. Then we have create ELF waves. I've uploaded all of these documents to my Scribd account so that everybody can see them. Good stuff. And we have plasma clouds. This is the military saying that they created plasma clouds for about an hour back in November of 2012, and they're very proud of them. I tweeted this out, and the Naval Research Lab retweeted me. Thanks, guys. Glad you appreciate what I do. I appreciate what you do. Create air glow using high-frequency radio waves and or rocket exhaust plumes. Create holes in the ionosphere and modifies the magnetic properties of our planet to probe for underground structures. And, everybody talks about that. They say, oh, well, HAARP's used to look underground. Well, here's the proof of that. Let's see. Artificial ionospheric ducts are what they call them. Those are holes in heaven, as they've been referred to by Mr. Begich. Then we have heater-induced artificial air glow, and that's because when HAARP, when the rocket tears a hole in the sky, artificial ion beam generators in the rocket accelerate electrons precipitating out of the atmosphere. So you rip a hole in the sky, and then all of that radiation up there that's trapped now floods down to the ground. And when that happens, it's the exact same thing that happens during a coronal mass ejection or a solar flare hitting the atmosphere, except we are artificially producing the air glow, aka the aurora borealis. So with HAARP, they are artificially creating air glow and doing radiation belt remediation. And you say, why? Well, the original proposals that I've been able to find go back to the satellite threat due to high altitude nuclear detonation, Eisenhower Institute Papadopoulos presentation, and in that you can see that the tether panel recommendation use HAARP facility in Alaska as a wind tunnel to determine the feasibility and engineering specifications of a mitigation system for radiation in the atmosphere, and then they show how it would work. So this was called a wind tunnel for radiation. Look at that. My HAARP FOIA is coming up bad request now. Interesting. Well, there it is. This is a top secret. This was classified. Somebody did a Freedom of Information Act request on HAARP. This is what they came back. They were actually looking for UFOs, and this is what they got back. Go figure. But if you look through it, this was classified. It really tells the story of what HAARP does and how it works and all that. I suggest everybody read this one. It's on Scribd. If you come down through here, you're going to read the long history dating back to 1958's Project Argus, when they started blowing up the sky with nuclear blasts, and then the world banned that with the limited test ban treaty. They said no more of that. So they started doing it with instead of using nuclear explosions, they started using particles that were dispersed in the ionosphere, and then they either heated them with arrays like the Arecibo array. We have an example of that here. The CERAS satellite. All of this stuff is real. Combined release and radiation effects satellite. Plasma wave experiment. This thing would dump sulfur hexafluoride, barium, lithium, and other chemicals into the ionosphere, and then the Arecibo array would actually heat them. So even before HAARP, Arecibo was doing it, and it says right here, multiple instrument studies of chemical releases and heating at the Arecibo array. They actually have a new heater going in there, so this one was destroyed during a hurricane, so there'll be a new one up there. But if you look through this, people, this is all of the smoking gun evidence everybody ever wanted to know about HAARP, how it works, why it was made, and who made it. I have all of the documents at the bottom, including strawman high-frequency array, HAARPs on barges. Might want to look into that. And then, all of the stuff where they went to the Stanford lab and said, hey, we need to modify the ionosphere. And basically Stanford lab said, here's what we need to be able to do it. They made HAARP. Here is the HAARP's environmental impact study. So how much is it going to affect Alaska? I'm sure that that's real accurate. Artificial ionospheric mirror here. Here is the actual Joint Service Program plans and activities where they designed and implemented HAARP. Here it has the whole timeline of events. You can literally see, everything that went into making this device right here in this document. And even facilities that were, it says high frequency vertical heating facilities in operation before HAARP. NIIR, Dushanbe, Sura, Gorky, and Monchgorsk, Arecibo, Fairbanks, Alaska, Platteville, and Tromsø. So those were all heaters working before HAARP, and there are many more. You'll have to come over to climateviewer.com to see them all. And then finally down here at the bottom we have the HAARP goes portable, the microwave ionosphere reconfiguration ground-based emitter Mirage. This is a HAARP in a box on the back of a trailer, and they use a rocket. The chaff from the rocket, they heat the chaff, and it makes plasma clouds. So enjoy this, guys. Finally, we end with Bernard Eastland's buddy presenting HAARP stuff for tornado steering. So using HAARPs and using satellite-based microwave energy to steer tornadoes. You can't get any better than this, people. Please read through it and share it with everybody. If you have any questions, holler at me. And this is Jim Lee from climateviewer.com, the radiation database, and a whole lot more, saying thanks for caring.